Hi, it's Luke Bowman here. Welcome to my lesson for Paul Gilbert's new track, which he released last week. Paul is one of my favourite guitarists, and I'm really excited to see this new track and a new album on the way. So I thought I'd have a go at transcribing it. I've only done the first 2 minutes. That kind of covers the main theme and chords and melody in the song, so it should be enough to get you going. If you haven't heard the song already, go and check out the video that Paul's put out on YouTube. You can't actually see him playing it, he's actually drawn the video. And it's actually an instrumental song with words to it, so when you watch it you can see the words that go along with the melody. It's really good, so go check that out. But in the meantime, here's an attempt at me playing a little part of it. So as you can see in there's quite a bit of technical stuff. There's a lot of really fast stuff at the beginning of the track, which I haven't recorded myself playing, but it is all in the transcription for you. You'll also see that I'm using a slide on some of it, which is what Paul's using for the melody parts. Gives that real kind of vibrato and singing tone to it. Don't worry if you don't have a slide or don't play slide guitar, you can still play the notes as they are and still play the melody without the slide. I'm only just learning. It was one of my New Year's resolutions to learn a bit of slide guitar. So I'm still very much at the basic stage, but I found this is a really good song to start with because it's relatively simple melody, played on just a couple of strings, but it really helps you concentrate on getting the tone and the vibrato and making it sing a bit. So it is a good one to start with if you haven't played any slide guitar before. As I mentioned, Paul is one of my favourite guitarists. He's an amazing musician and a really nice guy. I was lucky enough to meet him probably about 11 or 12 years ago. I signed up for one of his master classes that he puts on before his shows. If you ever get a chance to do that, it's amazing. You get to spend a couple of hours jamming with Paul, watch the sound check and then the show. So when we get back to normal, Paul's in your town, give that a go. I highly recommend it. But he's a really fun guy and an amazing player, so there is a lot you can learn from this track no matter what standard you are. Okay, we're in March now. I haven't actually done many videos this year, which I apologise for. It's been a bit of a rough start to the year on a family kind of level. But things are slowly improving now, so I'm getting back into this. I have been busy transcribing. I've just finished doing Cory Wong's Wong Notes album, Guitar and Bass. So keep an eye on his website, that should be released very soon, along with the Optimist and the Striped album, which are already on there. I've also been very lucky to be working with Mark Lettieri. If you follow him on Instagram, you'll have seen he's done these like strat stomps, these little 1 minute cool tracks, and what we've done is transcribe those and created some lessons for them, which will be on SoundSlice. If you haven't used SoundSlice, go check that out, it's a fantastic tool. There are various levels of membership. Even if you just go for the free option, there's a lot of transcriptions on there, which are really cool. I've started putting a few of my things on there, a few short things that I've done on there. So there's a link below if you want to check that out. But that will be coming very soon from SoundSlice, so keep an eye on Mark's account for that. I'm sure he'll be advertising it when it happens. And then with a bit of luck, we're going to be doing his new baritone album, which comes out in April. So we're going to be working on that too. Okay, if you do enjoy the video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. There's also a link below to my Facebook and Instagram pages. It would be great, as always, to have you following me on there too. There's also a PayPal donation button link below as well. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and we'll get started with the lesson. Okay, before we get into playing it, there's just a couple of points I want to cover. One is the tempo of this song. It does fluctuate quite a bit. It's got a great live feel to this. So a lot of live records, it's not played to a click, so it is fluctuating bar by bar. The fast part at the beginning, I've put that at around about 143 beats a minute. It then slows down to about 130, 131 for the main melody. but it does fluctuate within that, so it's quite interesting to have a play along with a metronome on this, see if you can work out the tempo. Certainly for the main melody part, you can really feel when it deliberately slows down into that main melody part. It sounds really good, and then it builds back up again. Another thing to cover is the fingerings that I've put in the tabs. I have not seen a video of Paul playing this, so I have put the fingers that I think may have been used by Paul based on what I've seen him doing in the past. However, there's no guarantee that they're correct. Pretty sure the notes are, but where he's playing them on the neck could be different. When we go through it, I'll explain why I've put certain things in certain places, but feel free to move them and put them in different positions. I've seen a few people covering this already and they're playing it in a different position to what I put it, which is absolutely fine. You've got to do it how it's comfortable. And when Paul does do a video of it, he may well prove me wrong and that I have it in the wrong place. So that's a big caveat. Feel free to play it where you want on the neck. Finally, the slide part, I am just learning myself, so I don't feel qualified to be able to teach you how to play slide guitar. So when we do the video, I will probably just show you the notes. Again, I've put them on 1 or 2 strings, so it makes it easier for the slide. If you're not using a slide, there's probably better ways you can play it. So just put plenty of vibrato on it and maybe a little bit of whammy. We can look at that when we go through it. Okay, having said all that about not showing you how to play the slide, I will give you a little demonstration of how I do it and a few small tips. Okay, so I'm using a brass slide on my little finger. Doesn't matter what type of slide you use or which finger you use it on. Some great players play it on different fingers, different types of slides. So it's whatever's comfortable for you. Do try and find one that fits you. Mine's slightly too long. I'm working on that, probably going to chop the end off it. But I have gained a few tips. I've been watching the video lessons that Ariel Posen's done, which is really good. And they're giving me a few tips. One thing is that I am not using a pick for this part because I'm using my fingers. When I first started trying to play slide, I was hitting other strings, just sounding, I play a note, but then you get other strings ringing through and it's just sounding horrible. So one of the things that he shows is how to mute the various strings with your fingers. So it's just the string that you're playing that is ringing through. So muting, right hand muting is very important. You want to try and get above the fret, top of the fret. So you're playing the 12th fret, don't put it there, that's slightly flat. You want to get it right on top of the fret. Vibrato, just moving it slightly, it sounds pretty cool, slide in. Other tip is to try and use as close to the end of the slide. So if you're playing that G string, don't have your slide across all the strings like that. Kind of losing control. If you were playing with your fingers, you'd be using the tip of your fingers to try and use the tip. Okay, so this beginning part from Paul, fairly simple melody. It's from 9th up to the 11th, 12th, 14th, 12th, 11th, 9th. And then we're going to move to the B string. Like that. So that's what the melody sounds like. With the slide, sounds a bit like that. So you can hear it's a lot more expressive with the vibrato and the tone, etc. That's about the extent of my slide teaching, I'm afraid. But hopefully that helps it a little bit. But if you don't want to use a slide, put it away, use your pick. There's lots of other ways that you can use whammy bars or big vibratos to make it sing. Okay, and then we go into a pretty fast shredding kind of section, which is really cool. Some great licks in here. Even if you play them slowly, there's a lot you can get out of them. It's not something you're comfortable with or haven't done before. Just take them slowly, learn the various passages. There's some great ideas in terms of string skipping, sweeping, and some good patterns in here that you can learn and reapply. So they're pretty much 2-bar phrases. So what I'm going to do is play each 2-bar phrase slowly so you can see how I'm fingering it. I'm not going to try and play them too fast because I'm still learning them myself. But the first one goes a bit like this. Okay, so we're over a B minor chord, and this is pretty much a B minor with an added 9th arpeggio that we're playing. So B minor arpeggio, various ways you can play it. So the 1st, the minor 3rd, the 5th, and so on. But it's also adding a C sharp. So it's like a B minor 9, and we're added 2. Bit of string skipping. First time I ever saw string skipping was learning Paul's licks back in the 80s when I was a kid. He uses it a lot, and it's great for playing fast stuff or playing arpeggios fast. So if you've never done this before, have a practice. You're starting on your B string, you're skipping across the G strings, you're not playing it, down to your D string. So just practice the patterns. Play around with those notes. You can come up with your own thing, but it's good for working on your agility and your speed. You can either pick it all, work on your alternate picking, or work on your legato, hammering on and pulling off. Okay, so I've seen people playing that down here as well, which you could do. It's exactly the same notes. The reason I put it up here is when I slowed it down, I could hear this slide from the 14th fret down here, which if I play it here, you don't get that slide. It could be that he's playing it down here and sliding down here. I honestly don't know. So to me, it felt more comfortable up here, but if you want to play it down here, figure it out what the notes are there. Do it wherever you want. Okay, so the second lick, relatively similar kind of idea. Both start with that kind of 8/16 notes on the note. The next one, it's kind of like the bass is still playing a B, but the chord is an A, so it's kind of like an A over a B. And this arpeggio, so slowly, that's how I've fingered it. You could play it up here. Because I've started up here, I'm staying up here. So it's the same idea. It's kind of like an A major arpeggio. But again, adding that second or ninth in there, the B. A little bit at the end of that bar that I've notated is just not necessarily from the 5th to the 17th. He's just doing it into the next lick. Okay, so let me try and play those two together. Into the second. Okay, that's probably about like a 1/5 of the speed that Paul's playing it. So take it slow. Get that kind of muscle memory going in your fingers so that as you speed it up, you're not having to think too much, it's already in your brain where you're going with that. Okay, the next part's kind of the two 2-bar licks that go into each other, but I'll start with the first one. So we're back to the B minor chord. And I'm playing it like this. Up to that 14th fret. And then the next part, you're sliding down from the 14th fret and moving to an F sharp minor chord. So it's kind of spelling out the arpeggio for that. So you're sliding down from the 14th to 12th fret. If I play the whole thing slowly. Big vibrato on those notes at the end. Okay, so you're kind of going up that B minor. Again, you could play it up here. I just feel again I'm hearing slides in there. So which is why I fingered it that way. And then you're coming down that F sharp minor. One thing to watch out, Paul does this quite a bit, big slides. So very often at the end of his sweep licks, very quick slides, which take a bit of practice because it's very easy to go hit the wrong note. So again, take it slowly. If you're familiar with arpeggios, you'll know this is very similar to an A major. So it's pretty much same A major, F sharp minor 7, relatively relative major and minor, so it's a very similar shape. Okay, and then he goes into probably the fastest part that we're going to look at. So this lick here, I believe he's fingering it like this. And it's that pattern over and over again, but very fast, so it sounds a bit like... I think Paul might be picking it. I'm hammering it on and pulling it off because I find that a lot easier than picking it. So he's basically playing that pattern over and over for 2 bars. So take it slowly. You can play it over and over again, help build up stamina. It's quite a typical Paul Gilbert lick if you've ever learned his kind of stuff. Sounds really good. Thinking about this, it's a B minor arpeggio with the second note, C sharp, or the 9th in there. He's then moving it down to that pattern there. Now you could just play that over and over. Cool lick, but he's just playing it once, but then we're going to move down the fretboard a bit, so slide down there, slide down there, slide up. So this one really moves about. Again, I'll play it slowly for you. There are different ways you can finger it. That's the way I've done it, which seemed the easiest for me to play. There isn't that big jump at the end. You can play it up here. In terms of hammering on and pulling off versus alternate picking, do it how you feel comfortable. I'm probably playing it different each time. Just because I put hammer-ons on there doesn't mean you have to do that. If you want to pick them all, that is fine too. I think Paul does a mixture of both. He's an amazing alternate picker, but he's also got a great legato technique as well. Okay, so into the next section. We're getting towards the end of the fast bit. This is where my video started from. It's about the only bit I could play anywhere near up to speed. So over again, over a B minor chord, we're playing. I'm saying that, the end's got some pretty big vibrato on it. Almost bending it up a tone, tone and a half. Paul has some pretty amazing vibrato going on. So, again, we're around this B minor. Arpeggio, you might know that shape. Don't know if they've done any sweep picking. It's quite a common shape. Again, adding that second or 9th. In this case, the C sharp. So, 8 notes. And then we're going to go up to the 17th fret. Some big vibrato bends at the end there. Okay, so this part's over F sharp minor. 17th fret down to the 12th fret, 12th fret, 14th, 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 12th. So. Slide up to the 17th fret. Okay, so that's the fast shredding bit over with. Now get onto some of the cool rhythm parts that are in this before we get onto the main melody. So this part. Nice and easy. Good old rock chord progression. The G to the D to the A. So many songs, that's because it sounds so cool. So the tablature is what I think Paul's playing. There are more guitars in there. There's a rhythm part as well, which I haven't tabbed out, so it's hard to tell exactly who's playing what. You pick what you want, but we're playing a G to a D to an A. So the way I'm doing it, I'm putting that bottom G in, to be honest, keeping it kind of power chords. So no major or minor thirds. again he's got that little melody and spelling out an A major sus4 chord, so and then exactly the same again. This time so that second time you're going up to the E. You could play it open if you wanted, but I think he's playing 5th fret there, just spelling out the chord. Then you do the G again, the D again, then we're going to an E minor, here at the 7th fret, to an E minor 7, so basically taking the 4th finger off. And then I think there's a couple of open A strings in there before we go into this next part. The other thing is that I'm palm muting those rhythm bits, because they're quite snappy and articulated when he's playing it. So and we go to the next bit, which is actually shown in the video. He's actually got the chord diagrams drawn in his video if you watch that. So I stole them from there, to be honest. So it's this cool progression. So we've got a D chord. So if you think of your D, G and B strings, it's over a C. I'm not sure how you think of this. I don't think you can use your thumb for it. Maybe if you've got a very bendy 3rd finger, you could maybe do that. So between each chord you're doing the chugging on that bottom string. Probably use my 3rd finger on the bottom, like that, or possibly my 2nd finger. The next chord we're going to is a G major, just below that C. So if you know your G major shape there, just your C shape moved up. Again doing the D, G and B strings of that, but with the C in the bottom. So we're going that. Is the progression, but you're getting a bit of chugging sound. And then you do exactly the same, down 2 frets. So this time it's a C chord over a B flat to a B flat, back to the C, to an F major. So it's a really cool rhythm. I've heard that kind of thing happening before, I've never really played it before. Sounds really cool. So the second time through when you're doing it on the B flat, this is the part where it really slows down into the next section. So after you've hit the F, you're hitting a B flat power chord. You could play it here, but again it is up to you where you want to play it. We then go into this final part over an A chord before we go into the melody. So, starting off with an A chord, so you're playing the open A, and then that little melody, B string, down to G string, your A there, then straight away hitting the bottom G, playing the same melody again, becomes a bit of a finger twister. There is actually a very small clip of Paul playing this that he's put on Instagram of just this section, and he's using his thumb, which a lot of people do. So he's going. I've always struggled to play with my thumb for some reason. I don't know if I have a strange shaped hand or a small hand, but I struggle with it. Because we're then going to move down to the F sharp and go back up that melody. Adding the A, bottom E if you can. Like an E sus4 chord. So the way I'm playing it, because I can't use my thumb, is a bit of a finger twister, but it sounds really cool. So basically playing an A over a G, an A over an F sharp, which is a bit like an F sharp minor, to that. Cool little progression. Okay, and then we go into the main melody part, which he's playing with a slide. So again, if you watch the video, he's put words to this. So you're not singing it, it's like an instrumental which has words but no singing. It's really cool, and you can kind of sing along with the melody as he's playing it. He's got the words on his videos, and it's quite a fun thing. Obviously Paul's a bit of a comedian, so it is quite a funny video. So I'm not going to play it the slide, I'm just going to show you how I've done it. It is fairly simple in terms of melody, but the key is to get the phrasing as close as possible to how Paul is playing it. So he is trying to mimic how a singer would sing it in terms of the sliding in and the vibrato. Some of the notes are staccato, so you'll see a little dot above the top of them. So that means you're just playing the note, you're not holding it. So you're just playing it and stopping it straight away. And that kind of gives you the difference between the... helps with the phrasing of it. So as the melody starts, so I've put it all on the G string, apart from that last note, because it's easier for sliding. You could do, or if you wanted to play it where you want. So again, pretty much all on the G string there. We're going over to an A chord, A major. 3, 4, 5 in A, major third. Back up to the 9th. Okay, so it's starting to get a bit more challenging in this phrase. The way I'm doing it, slide-wise, up to that 13th fret. So we're going to an E7 chord, so we'll put the G sharp in. And then we're going move to the B string. Could play it. And then over to your D string. Next phrase. So jumping around the strings here a little bit with the slide. And then back to the... It's all pretty much around the same notes, it's just getting used to the melody and the timing of it. I'm not going to go through great detail, you can work it out from the tablature and by playing along with Paul. And then just to finish off, then we have this melody, this descending melody. And then it ascends. So sliding, you could slide, it's just the first two and the last two notes that are sliding. So do it all on one string. I find that a bit more difficult to keep it in track, and then sliding up to finish off with, and then we're back into the that we started with. So that's the sliding part. Figure out how you want to finger it if you are using a slide. Either follow my tablature or come up with your own way, whatever's comfortable for you. And it's very much practicing those sliding into the notes and then getting some real vibratos sliding out, making them sound really fluid and vocal-like. If you're not using a slide, think about how you want to play it. You can refinger it to something that's a bit more comfortable, or you're going to use a bit of whammy bar, a bit of vibrato on it, and come up with your own take on it. Okay, that's as far as I've gone. It then goes back into some more shredding licks, which is different from the beginning. But a similar kind of theme, and then it goes back through the chords and the melody, but Paul's kind of changing it up all the way through. If I get enough interest, I may well transcribe the whole song. Depends how many people are interested in this, how many requests I get. But hopefully that is enough to keep you going for now. Take it slowly, especially the fast parts. get used to the fingering of them and build the speed up. But enjoy it and have a lot of fun playing it. It's a great song. As usual, I'll now play through the Guitar Pro tablature at the end of the video here so you can see how it looks, the tablature, how it sounds. If that's any use to you, you can slow it down on YouTube, rewind it, etc. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video.